Analysis of the news. Gary Stearman is with me today to discuss an article that he's written for our July 2009 edition of Prophecy in the News magazine entitled Persia in Prophecy, and he says Iran spooks the world.
Absolutely. Iran is I think, a highly underestimated power in the world today. We tend to poke fun at the mullahs and at Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who basically is a strutting peacock. He's a short fuse, and he's got a few nuclear weapons. He thinks he owns the world. Everybody kind of laughs at him, JR. We shouldn't laugh, because the Bible says that Persia is a great spiritual power, on the dark side, I should add.
Yeah.
It has great power and will have the strongest impulse on the fulfillment of latter-day prophecy.
Believe it or not, Ezekiel chapter 38 is not the only prophecy in the Bible concerning latter-day Persia, or shall we call them the Elamites, or the Medes and the Persians, the Parthians, whatever you want to call them. I can tell you that Iran figures into Bible prophecy, and what it looks like, they are the ones who are going to bring the whole world down to the battle of Armageddon. Tell us about it, Gary.
Well, the way they're going to do it is by behaving irrationally, according to the Bible. Gog and Magog, Gog of the land of Magog, is sort of depicted as a superpower to the north, who is dragged unceremoniously into some kind of a Middle East conflagration and dragged in against his will. Now, JR, what would drag Gog into the Middle East? The Bible's very clear about this. Persia is depicted as sort of a loose cannon in the area. It's fascinating. When you look at Damascus, Damascus is not depicted as a starter of battles. Egypt is not depicted as one who starts battles. The territories on to the west that we would call modern Turkey, Asia Minor doesn't appear to be a fuse that lights a huge dynamite charge, but Persia is continually depicted as a troublemaker in prophecy.
Yes, let's talk about the prophecies in Jeremiah and Ezekiel concerning Elam, because the Elamites were the first people who lived in this area, and that eventually became Persia. The Elamites evidently are still there.
Apparently they are. Now, in Genesis, you read in Genesis 10, verse 22, the children of Shem were Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. First son of Shem was Elam. History tells us, JR, that the Elamites then came down after the flood and occupied the territory around Tehran today and south into the territory that we would call modern-day Iran. And so Elam lived there until about the 400s BC, something like that. And after that, they were sort of defeated, scattered, and everybody forgot about them.
Scattered among the nations.
That's right.
But they're still around.
They're still around.
Their offspring are still around. And Jeremiah had a prophecy about them in the latter days. He said he was going to bring them back.
He's going to bring them back somehow. And you know what? I think we have been seeing that. I think that in modern Iran, there's been a coalescing of forces. I think there has been a rise of the old bloodlines of Persia into the modern Iran. It's fascinating that about the time the Nazis were rising to power, and they called themselves Aryans, the Iranians were rising to power. 1935, they changed their name from Persia to Iran, and Iran is just the Persian way of saying Aryan.
Yeah.
The Nazi Aryans and the Persian Aryans got their idea from the ancient Elamites, who were supposed to be a master race.
Amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Firstborn son of Shem.
Right.
Was a master race.
Yes.
Now, when we get over to Ezekiel 32, Ezekiel says, "There's Meshech, Tubal, and all her multitude. Her graves are round about him. All of them Gentiles, slain by the sword, though they caused their terror in the land of the living."
Yeah.
They're gone down to hell with their weapons of war. He's talking about the Elamites and the Russians here.
As a matter of fact, Ezekiel begins his prophecy by saying, "There is Elam and all her multitude."
Wow.
And Elam here is associated with Meshech and Tubal and the multitude that are in this great latter-day assembly of forces that's going to invade Israel. So, J.R., Elamites exist today. If somebody asks you to find an Elamite, you might say, I don't know how to do that. The Bible tells you how to do it. The Elamites were the people of ancient Iran, and I think their bloodline still exists there.
And they're smart people because they're the firstborn son of Shem.
Right.
Brilliant.
They are.
So were the Germans. They were brilliant people.
Right.
They claimed that they were kin to the Aryans, that they were the descendants of the Aryans, a master race, so to speak. Well, you look at Iran today; they're brilliant people. Their knowledge is terrific. I mean, but you know, just as Germany, Iran today is anti-Semite, anti-Jewish, and they are out to. In fact, Ahmadinejad, with one bomb, could destroy as many people as Hitler did in all of World War II.
Very true. Now, there's something you should always remember. Persia has a spiritual prince called the Prince of Persia in the book of Daniel. He has apparently an ancient power, an ancient throne right that exists, and he has the ability to initiate great evil. And that's what we're watching in the world today.
Yeah, amazing. I'd like for you to read this article that Gary has written called Persia in Prophecy, Iran Spooks the World. It's in our July 2009 edition of Prophecy in the News magazine. You can order it online here on our website, or you can call our office, 1-800-475-1111, and ask for the July 2009 edition of Prophecy in the News magazine. I would encourage you when you call to subscribe for the next 12 issues. A one-year subscription, $34.95, and you can have your choice of 4 books or 3 videos. Just tell them what you want. You can see the 4 books and the 3 videos in ads here on the website. So look it over, think about it, and get this magazine, will you? You'll be glad you did, and we'll be glad you did too. Gary, thanks for being with us today.
JR, it's always interesting. We live in interesting times.
Have a good weekend. I'm J.R. Church with Gary Stearman. We'll see you again Monday with our analysis of the news.